Okay, so to coincide with our anatomy corner this month, we actually called it neuroanatomy corner because we talked about the concept of reciprocal inhibition, which basically means the nerves that run down to my quadricep that's going to help to extend my knee, the nerves that make my quad fire, a branch of that nerve goes to my hamstring and forces it to relax so that my body doesn't have to fight opposing muscle groups, because that would be a colossal waste of energy. Just as if I do a bicep curl and contract my bicep, the nerve that makes my bicep contract is going to force my tricep to relax to conserve energy. So we can use that when we're stretching to get more effective stretching. In fact, you have to use it. Otherwise, your stretching is going to be not useless, but you're never going to get as much out of it. So we're going to do a quick stretch for our chest, our hip flexor, and our hamstring, kind of maybe three of the most popular areas that we need to stretch. I'm going to use a band to stretch out my chest. What I do with the band, you can just put your hand up against a door frame if you don't have a band, but these bands are great to help add a little bit of traction. So I'm going to trap my wrist, grab the strap, wind my palm up so that I can get my shoulder back rather than having my shoulder round forward. And as I start to sit into the stretch and turn away, to make sure that I get more stretch through my chest, I'm going to pull my shoulder blade down and back. I'm going to squeeze the muscles of my mid-back to cause a neurological relaxation of the muscles in the front of my chest. So I'm not letting my back arch, I'm keeping my core tight, squeezing my mid-back, and then I feel a huge stretch to the front of my chest, front of my shoulder. Again, if we're sitting in front of a computer all day, I want to activate those muscles that pull my shoulder back to get better release in the muscles at the front of the shoulder. Other popular areas that we recommend we stretch: hip flexors. If I come down on one knee, I'm going to have to make sure that to adequately stretch my hip flexors, I tilt my pelvis. We talk about this all the time, but I don't just tilt my pelvis. I tilt my pelvis and I squeeze my glute hard, hard, hard. I contract my hip extensors to create a neurological release of my hip flexors. So I contract the opposing muscle group to get a stretch in the muscle that I'm looking to release. And then the last one that we see people do horrible things for their hamstrings. People love to whip their leg up on something high and touch their head to their knee. That's ridiculous. We get all kinds of movement from our spine. We don't need that. We have probably spoken to most of you about taking a golf club or a stick, getting it behind your back, hinging from your hips to feel a real efficient stretch to the back of the leg. But I don't just chill out here. I'm going to actually feel like I contract my quad, and boom, that stretch gets significantly greater. I'm using the nerves that activate my quadricep to force my hamstring to relax while keeping my spine nice and neutral. There's a massive stretch for your hamstrings. So again, we look at stretching as an act of efficiency. I want to move as little as possible and create as big a stretch as possible, as opposed to creating tons of movement and getting minimal stretch.